Uh, I have to include this because Levi has been asking me for months to sneak in a reference to. I don't even remember. It's I'm supposed to say People's Champion and something else.
I remember him saying something about you
I was
saying,
also supposed to keep his name out of it. Oops.
"Oh well."
Welcome to this week's episode of Where's My Invite with Billy and Joe. Thanks for listening. Did you get a chance at all to watch any of the Logan Mayweather fight?
No, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen a lick of it
Did you see?
or a punch of it, really,
Did you see
or a
Logan?
hug of it. But
There's a lot more hugs than anything.
I've heard a lot about it.
Did you see Logan and KSI?
No, I never
Okay.
watched their fights either. I'm not a huge fan of
I
the
know you're not. So
fighting
I'll give Logan this.
arena.
He had much better form than he did when he fought KSI. He actually kind of looked like a boxer whenever he fought.
Oh,
It kind of pains me to say that because he was still pretty awkward. Like, he's only been doing it for a few years now. And most professional boxers start when they're like fucking 8. And so you kind of got to expect him to look a little goofy. But a lot of people are congratulating him on going 8. They said going the distance with Mayweather. First
and
of
it's
all,
not really a full distance, is it?
it's not a full distance. It's only 8 rounds. A normal fight. I mean, undercards are often 6 to 10, sometimes 12 rounds. Undercard fights. But the main card fight is almost always 12 rounds. Used to be 15. Wish they'd bring that back, but it's almost always 12 rounds. And so you can't really congratulate him for going the fucking distance because he didn't go 12 rounds with Mayweather. He looked like he was about to drop himself just from being so tired 3 rounds in. He was so tired 3 rounds in. And one of my favorite boxers, Vasily Lomachenko, whenever he spars in training, he spars for like 20 rounds or some shit like that straight. So that if a fight goes the full 12 rounds, it doesn't bother him that much.
Professional athlete trains for sport.
Yes. And so I know it's fucking crazy. You'd think that they're just naturally good at
You
it.
think everyone would do that, huh?
But what was I saying? Oh yeah. Logan. His brother, I don't know if you saw what he said online.
He took the hat. No, this is with a 50-1 is what you're talking about.
Yes. He said 50-1, my brother beat Mayweather, whatever. Got ratioed really fucking hard, by the way. By a lot of people. It was hilarious. And it just shows how delusional he is, or how big of a troll he is. Could be either. But I think he also genuinely believes it because I think a lot of their fans genuinely believe it. But the biggest clip that everyone shares is of Logan Paul just trying to throw a flurry of punches at Mayweather. And not a fucking one of them connects.
Are they close?
I mean, Mayweather is what I call turtled up. It's where he has his head hunched down and his 2 gloves up on the side of his head. It's a common defense in boxing. Whenever someone's going to start throwing a flurry, you turtle up like that. And you tuck your elbows in and you protect your upper body and your head like that. And so Mayweather immediately turtles up and just every fucking one of them hits his gloves. Every
and
single
how
one.
bad is that of a hit? Obviously,
Getting hit
compared to a normal, like an actual hit that connects. Better.
It's not bad. I mean, it kind of rocks your whole body back and forth, but it does not do any damage.
So if, like, let's say you're fighting a righty, right, and you just punch his right hand the entire time, How
Yeah.
viable of a strategy is that?
Not
Not.
because they're gonna
You
catch
won't
on
hurt his
pretty
hand
fucking
enough.
quick.
Okay. Okay.
My favorite boxer, Vasily, he takes about 5 rounds to get going. He's honestly kind of a super boring fighter his first 5 rounds because all he's doing is watching the boxer. He'll throw a couple jabs and shit and throw a few punches, but it's only to see how they react. And then like at round like 6, he starts kicking it up a little bit, and then in a few rounds, 9 times out of 10, they're knocked out. Just because he takes the first few rounds to analyze. And I don't like Mayweather. I've never really have, but he was obviously not fucking trying with Logan Paul. Like I have seen him fight so much better than what he did that night.
So
And
obviously the like ball is in his side of the court where he can kind of like he's obviously the professional.
yeah, I mean,
Um
right.
so what was the strategy from Logan's side? Because you said he was gassed after a while, and I don't know. I know being a boxer is like pretty much peak athletic fitness form, right? Um, so was the strategy to go for a knockout either way on his end in the first 2 rounds, and that's why he was still gassed by like less than halfway through, or what?
Well,
What was
now it
his idea?
depends. Because do you think, and I know you didn't watch it, but do you think that this fight possibly could have been set up? And by that I mean,
Like they didn't happen into each other the day of.
like, do you think that they knew what the outcome was going to be?
I mean, sure. I'm at least gonna say they could guess what was gonna happen.
So I am under the impression, because of things that Mayweather has said before, mainly him saying he's more of a businessman than he is a boxer. Uh, I believe that he knew Logan Paul was trying to get into boxing, and he was offering basically to give him kind of a big entrance into the boxing world by offering him this exhibition match. Uh, and Mayweather would get a larger cut of the money, and Logan Paul would get a very small cut of the money, but that they had a set outcome for the fight.
Hmm.
Because I think Logan Paul knew damn well he was not going to knock out Mayweather.
Right.
Because Mayweather has never lost a fight. He has an unbeatable defense called the Philly Shell, where he wraps his left arm around his waist and moves his right arm in front of his jaw and stands almost completely sideways. And so if someone takes a punch at him, he has everything guarded.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and there's no way a novice like Logan Paul can beat that. So I think it was set up. I think that they knew they were going to make a shit ton of money because Logan Paul's famous and he's trying to get into boxing, and Mayweather's one of the richest boxers. Scratch that. Mayweather's the richest boxer to ever live. So he knows how to make money in boxing. I think that they had that agreement.
Yeah, he said something like legalized bank robbing, right?
I have no idea. Mayweather, he said a lot of shit.
Mm.
But
And isn't there some sort of thing? I can't remember if it was him or 50 Cent. There's some like reading controversy. Like one of them couldn't read. Wasn't it a beef between them? I'm not sure which
it
one
might
it
have been a
was.
beef between them, but there's a big controversy around Mayweather that he can't read.
Hmm. Okay, I
Uh,
think that's what it was.
yeah, which might be the case, but what's it fucking matter? Dude's a millionaire, a
He's
multi-millionaire. I would
almost
give up being
earned.
able to read for that.
Really, I think I would keep being able to
You
read.
would rather have the ability to read books about George Washington than you would
Yes, I
have
would.
$100 million.
Yeah.
$100 million, Billy.
What am I going to spend $100 million on? This
Would
is
you
why we should
would you
tax
suck
the
a dick
rich.
for $100 million?
What does this have to do with being able to
I'm
read?
just asking. I want to know how much $100 million means to you. I'll give you
Did
my
you-
answer.
Are you coming on to me here? Is this? I don't
No.
have $100 million. It's not my.
I would absolutely suck a dick for $100 million. Are you kidding me? $100 million.
Normally, I would like to get into, uh, you know, particulars about this, but I think the obvious answer is yes. It's
Okay.
also like I think you could go way further with like, would you punch a pregnant woman?
For $100 million?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like yeah, like
Didn't say where, right? Does that have to be in the stomach?
well, you could go worse and worse.
You could, yeah.
Like you could go straight up. You could go from 100 million to 50 million, right? And then
Right.
you could go down progressively. I think you could probably go down to about $10,000,
I don't think I
even
would
more,
punch a
even
pregnant
less.
woman for $10,000.
What if you say we'll split it 3 ways, include the baby?
If I don't fucking murder the baby with my monster punch.
Okay, Logan Paul
Yeah, that's gonna be Logan Paul's next fight.
against a
Uh,
pregnant woman.
Sorry, Jake
It's two
Paul's.
versus
Jake
one.
Paul's. Did you hear where Jake Paul's getting another washed up MMA fighter to fight?
No, of course I didn't hear about this. I didn't
Yeah.
know that Logan Paul and Mayweather were fighting. I didn't realize they were fighting until the fight had ended. Really?
Well, yeah, Jake Paul got another fight lined up, and it's with another washed up MMA fighter. But uh, I want to talk more about this $1 million thing.
Okay.
Uh,
What would I do?
do you have any pets?
Not with me, but I do have a dog. Fudge the dog.
Would you sell that dog for 100,000?
No, I don't think I would.
I don't. I
He
don't
is
think
on
I would
his. He
sell
is an
any of
old
mine.
dog, but
Well, his last
I
legs,
would.
just you know,
Well, he's not on his last legs necessarily, but like
the
I don't
twilight of his
expect he
life.
will be around in 15 years.
Uh, I don't. I wouldn't sell any of my dogs for that much. I think that there would eventually be a dollar amount. It'd break my heart, but then I'd have a bunch of hundies to wipe my tears with. But it would have to be, I think, a pretty high amount.
Well, you have multiple dogs,
I have 3 dogs and a
and
cat.
you could. I'm assuming you know which one you would sell.
Well, I can't
You don't
say
have to
if
say
I
which
would
one,
sell.
but
Well, I
I
might as
know.
well
I
talk about it.
know there's gonna be one that you think of the
Uh,
3 that you would get rid of first.
there. I can't sell Autumn's dog, Freya, because that's
Okay.
her favorite dog, and so it would come down to Pippin or Petunia, because those 2 are my favorite dogs. I love them all very much, but Pippin and Petunia are my 2 favorite.
And Pippin is the one you post the most.
Pippin is the one I post the most because Pippin's the one hanging around me the most. Petunia is a very anxious dog, and she just sits on the couch most of the time, being anxious.
Okay.
But Petunia is my first dog, and my first real dog that was just mine, not my family's. And me and her lived in a little studio apartment together for a while, and we were best friends. Still are. I still love Petunia so much. And then Pippin's just super cute and has so much personality and so much sass. I genuinely don't know which one I would sell if I had to choose
Really?
between the 2. I would definitely sell the cat first.
Okay. The cat. Get out of here.
She doesn't let us pet her, and I don't think she likes us very much.
Hmm.
She lets me pet her sometimes, but she doesn't. She doesn't
Does she
like us. I
wander?
don't think.
I'm
What do you
assuming
mean
it's a
wander?
she.
Yeah, it's
Like
a she.
leave your place.
She's an indoor cat. She's terrified of the
Okay.
outdoors.
So she's just trapped with. Well, it's presumably at least in the last year, she's trapped with you guys and doesn't interact at all.
I mean, she'll walk around the house and meow,
Well, right,
just to annoy us.
but like stay away. She's staying away from you.
Yeah,
Pretty
if I
much.
go to touch her, she runs away.
Hmm.
And she just walks around and meows. And sometimes will come up and rub up against my leg. Then if I reach down to pet her, she runs away. The only way we can pet her is if she walks up to us and we stick a single finger out and she smells of it, and then she rubs her head against that finger.
And
And
that's
then
you consider that a pet?
I have to. That's all she gives us. And if I try to touch her any more than that, she runs away.
Hmm.
She was a feral cat. She was
Oh,
lived in
I
a
see.
dumpster. And so I think that's why. And not all feral cats turn out that way, but she was a little bit older whenever we
And how
got
long
her.
have you had this cat for?
I think I've had her for like 3 or 4 years now.
And how old is she? Abouts.
I would guess 1 or 2 years older than that. Probably 1 year older than that.
Okay.
Yeah, 1 to 2.
This is a good transition, actually, into
Okay.
um, my topic, which is sort of about animals. And we'll get to it, but there's something I really have to revel in and enjoy.
Yeah.
Is this is part of um, a suggestion from a viewer, a listener, I guess, who said, first of all, correctly pointing out the quickies are not that quick. Okay, you got us. Okay, fine. But also, maybe we should have other segments. Um, and Joe brought this to me, and I take great delight in having won Joe's Twitter poll
Yeah.
um, when we suggested two different topics potentially. And it's not like those are the only two topics, but
Right.
there's a bit of gerrymandering here, you know. Uh, Joe picked what I'm assuming, he thought would lose immediately, which is my topic, versus his topic, which was movies Joe's watched.
Yeah.
And
I'm
it's
big into movies.
not that we can't do both, um, and maybe we should do both. Um, but of course, the people's champion, my topic one, which is Wikipedia findings. And so in this sort of
How on earth? I'm still Autumn is baffled by it. Like, are there just so many like movie reviews out there
how many
that
people are talking about Wikipedia articles, huh?
no one, because it's fucking boring. I mean, there's interesting things on Wikipedia. And if you can find interesting things, like I think what you're going to talk about here in a little bit definitely is. I think that's interesting, and I would listen to that. But
Right.
what you were telling me
Thank
about the
you.
other day,
Oh, come on.
my God.
Okay. We're filming this. Okay, now you're bringing me off topic. But the topic I was initially thinking of when this came out is a wildly interesting topic. Um, Teddy Roosevelt's. And I said
Mhm.
Roosevelt's because I'm talking about all the Teddy Roosevelt's. Okay, I went down the Wikipedia rabbit hole. Recently, it was D Day. I don't know how many years it's been. Well, since, what was it, 44? And if you do the math.
83, I
Uh,
think.
right. Well,
No, that's not right.
mm,
80. Let's see. 20, 20, 40.
okay.
What are you
I'm
are
waiting for
you
you to finish
waiting
the
for my
math.
quick maths?
Yes. You brought yourself down this.
77 years.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. But I was watching some D-Day videos. Um, actually, probably around closer to Memorial Day, I was watching it,
Okay.
and something I had never heard before was the story of Teddy Roosevelt Jr. Jr. The son of the president, and he was a general
So the
on.
third.
See, this is why it was a fantastic topic. Uh, Teddy Roosevelt Jr. president um, named his son Teddy Roosevelt Jr.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So there you go. First of all, fantastic. Because Teddy Roosevelt, president, his father was Teddy Roosevelt. um, anyway, but son in general a was the highest ranking and I think oldest person that landed on the beaches in the first wave on D-Day. And he landed on Utah Beach and he was awarded the Medal of Honor. Which, you know, maybe we'll hear back from people who really want to hear more and more of the story. But basically, like most landings and most of the logistics, at least at the beginning, was completely fucked up. They were like a couple miles away from where they were supposed to be, and they're like talking to him, and he goes, "Okay, we'll just start the war from right here then." And then he does this. He does all these awesome like logistical things, and like walks around the beach with a cane and a pistol because he's like 50. He's almost 60 at this point. Uh, and he just commands the logistics from Utah Beach, which was the much nicer American beach compared to Omaha Beach. All of this to say, um, it's still not our Wikipedia topic. Okay, um, we're gonna go back to Joe's cat, and we're gonna talk about animal attacks and this rabbit hole I went down. And the nice thing about it is, um, we can just sort of bring this topic up, and we don't really have a time on it. Um, but I started reading about crocodile attacks on Wikipedia, and I thought maybe for this segment, um, since I open a bunch of tabs, I have at least 10 tabs open of Wikipedia,
Oh my
and
god, you monster!
different ways we can go through. And if I see something interesting, I'll open up the link, and then I'll circle back to it eventually. And usually that's how it proliferates. But I started reading about crocodile attacks. You know much about crocodiles, Joe?
I know that they're not alligators.
Do you know the difference between them?
Uh, well, for one, the names,
Okay,
maybe the location,
right.
and I don't know, maybe something about their teeth.
Something about their teeth. Yeah, I think there's something about their noses.
Yeah, there
Um,
is something about their noses actually. I
well,
think I think crocodiles have thinner, really long nose, but like really thin, and then alligators are kind of like a triangle.
the main difference is one you see in a while, and
Shut the fuck up.
one you see in a while, and the other you see later.
Is that on Wikipedia?
I could add that. I should. It should
You
probably
should
be
add
added.
that.
And you can source this podcast if you wanna
Yeah.
if you want to go through it. So I was reading about these lists of alligator attacks, and I got to this list because I was reading about the orca Tilikum that killed the woman in SeaWorld.
hmm
But I got to these crocodile attacks, and at one point I was very interested in like the BBC. I think it's BBC Earth has this wonderful series on YouTube where it's like top animal moments, and I don't know how they've. I don't know. First of all, they've made all the top animal moments have occurred during like HD filming. All caught in 4K, of course, and all recently, within the last, I don't know, 100 years. But interesting how those are all the top animal moments. But so I got really interested in that, and I watched the Blackfish Netflix thing. So maybe this is actually a movie review. And so I went down this rabbit hole. So, um, what do you think, Joe? Is hmm, hmm. I'm just thinking how we should proceed. So I got to these crocodile attacks, and there's a list of crocodile attacks. There's this Wikipedia article, and I was reading through, and there's this guy, Hendrik Coetzee, who was canoeing in a Congo river, the Lukuga River, right? Uh, and he was taken from his canoe, and this is the best part about this. Um, Unfortunately, he was killed, but they don't say he was killed. He's presumed dead. This 15-foot saltwater, is it a saltwater? I think it's a saltwater crocodile, comes out and takes him from his canoe, and they don't find anything from him. They don't find his clothes. They don't find a body part. Nothing.
hmm
And so this is what this list is full of. And man, you can go everywhere with this. Um, so I found another list of notable deaths caused by animals, and well, I'll just tell you, this is their notable deaths by animals, and I'll tell you the animal. And how about I bring you to the Wikipedia page, and I'll read sort of the context of it.
Okay.
So there's a couple deaths, surprisingly, by monkeys.
Okay.
I don't know if monkeys interest you.
Used to be my favorite animal when I was little.
What's your favorite animal now?
It went monkeys, squirrels, and then
Squirrels.
forever now it's been wolves. I love wolves.
Okay.
I found them fascinating.
So what did I say? Monkeys. There's an
Monkeys.
elephant. Notable death.
There's actually a giant elephant that got put to death because it killed its trainer in a circus, and it was a massive fucking elephant. They had to hang the motherfucker because they kept. I don't know, maybe they tried to hang it and it didn't work, so they had to shock it to death, or vice versa.
I think the one I'm thinking of, or the one I'm thinking of, was died of gunshots.
Okay,
So I don't know.
not the same
I didn't read much about the elephant. I read more about the guy's death. But that's very interesting. So there's polar bear. I mentioned the killer whale thing, so I won't go into that. Monkeys and what is the last one? Elephant, monkeys, and polar bear. Let's just go with those. Which would you go down first?
Let's go down.
If you had to pick elephant.
Yeah.
So the elephant is the story about this guy, Alan Campbell, right? He was an elephant trainer, and he's the go-to guy for elephants, right? He's crazy and radical. He insists that you clean the elephant's living space once in a day and once at night. He was known as like this workaholic. He's Tiger King, but for elephants. Maybe not as crazy, and he was going all over, at least the United States, advising trainers on how to take care of elephants. He worked at where did he work? He worked at the Louisiana. He worked in Louisiana Baton Rouge Zoo. Apparently, I have the Wikipedia article right in front of me. And his dream in life was to work in the circus. He wanted to be an elephant. He wanted to have an elephant act.
Mm-hmm.
So the topic is sort of animal death. So of course this guy died by elephant,
Mm-hmm.
and he was. So what happened was, and I quote, the elephant handler. This is a different handler. Was observed beating the elephant. Wait, hold on. Let me make sure I'm reading the right quote. No, never mind. Sorry, wrong quote. Long story short, he was crushed by an elephant. The elephant tyke, which was shot. I don't know if it was the one you're thinking of that was supposed to be hung. But they did the autopsy on Mr. Campbell, and would you believe it? He had cocaine in his system at the time. So that is Alan Campbell, and I think he was involved in potentially being an abusive elephant handler. So that's Alan Campbell. Do you want to cut the segment here, or do you want to keep going?
Let me actually talk about this elephant real quick.
Okay.
Her name was Mary, also known as Murderous Mary.
A good nickname.
I'm assuming after she killed the
yeah, she was born
keeper.
like that. Yeah.
But a man named Red Eldridge was hired on as an elephant keeper, and on his second day on the job, he was on Mary's back, leading her through a parade, and she was the star of the show. And she bent down to get a nibble of watermelon, and he prodded her ear with a hook to get her to stop, I guess. She went into a rage, snatched him off of her trunk, or off of her back with her trunk. Right. Excuse me. Threw him against a drink stand and stepped on his head.
Oh my
That was
god!
in Kingsport, Tennessee, by the way, about 40 minutes from here.
At what year was this? Did you mention?
Uh, I'm assuming in 1916 because that's when she was put to death.
Oh, the
So
elephant.
when she was put to death, did you say not the elephant?
No, the elephant.
Oh yeah. I'm assuming that she was put to death right after she crushed him.
She didn't have a trial. Too many
Uh,
witnesses. Or
I would guess not. I don't think there's too many elephant lawyers out there. But someone fired 5 rounds into her, had no effect. And
she's
then,
just built different.
I mean, really, she was a massive fucking elephant. And so they ended up trying to hang her. And 2,500 people were in attendance.
To
Uh,
witness.
yes, she was hung by the neck from a rail car mounted industrial derrick between 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock that afternoon. The first attempt resulted in a snapped chain, causing Mary to fall and break her hip as dozens of children fled in terror. And then the severely wounded elephant died in the second attempt when they had to get a stronger chain and try to hang her again. Which is really fucking brutal. But I remember reading about that as a kid, and I was like, oh my god. Uh,
Um,
but yeah, so that's the elephant that I thought you were going to talk about. Because that's Murderous Mary's the only elephant I'd ever heard like that.
there are other sort of crazy animal encounters. This is one I think you'll love. Is there on Wikipedia? There's a list also of animal killers and like their death tolls, but specific like individual animals, right? Not necessarily like which group. Because I think the highest is like mosquitoes.
Okay.
I was actually looking at it's like mosquitoes and then like humans, like homicides, and then it's like snakes and then it's dogs. And then the lists kind of diverge. But I was reading about, I hope I pronounced this right, the Cali River goonch attacks. Do you know what a goonch is?
It sounds racist.
Okay, well, keep in mind this is an animal.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I've never heard of them.
it's a catfish.
A catfish.
And most of
Okay.
these, the deadliest known sort of animals are in either India or Nepal or somewhere on the border. Is where you find these like and I'm not talking about like they have death counts in like dozens. These are by the hundreds. Most of
Okay.
these animals. The Cali River goonch um, is not in the hundreds, unfortunately, or I guess fortunately.
Unfortunately.
I guess
Yeah.
fortunately.
You're gonna
For the
say damn.
purposes of storytelling, this was they believe they never caught the goonch, red-handed, and allegedly, um, the goonch would go into Cali River, and I think the goonch ate 3 people. They allegedly, of course, and they think he ate 3 people, and it was this 200-pound catfish that had developed apparently
Wow.
a taste for humans. A man-eating catfish is supposed to be like 6 feet wide,
God damn.
and not only did it supposedly kill, not wide, excuse me, long. Not only did it supposedly kill 3 people, it also there was a sighting of a buffalo that it ate,
Wow.
and that's how they get. It's supposed to be around 200 pounds, in theory, um, because there's no way anything smaller could have gotten this buffalo.
Yeah.
But the number one animal killer. Let me see if I can find this
Wait,
tab.
so does that mean I could take on a buffalo?
Do you have catfish-like tendencies?
What are catfish like tendencies?
I don't know. I'm not a. I won't pretend to be a animal expert. In
I'm just saying I'm 200 pounds, and they suspect that this catfish was 200 pounds to take on this buffalo.
Hmm.
So,
maybe,
in
maybe.
theory,
Are you a strong swimmer?
What's the
I
buff?
think that's the.
Well,
I think that was the advantage of the of the goonch.
how would swimming help you take down a buffalo? Unless it like
Bring it
jumped
into
up
the
and
deep water.
smacked in.
I don't
Right,
know.
but it had to pull the motherfucker. Is that what you mean by
You think you
strong
could pull
swimming?
a
No, fuck no.
a buffalo? Well, there's your problem.
No. Okay. I'll just do it
The traditional way.
the traditional way.
Um, so the what would you guess is the animal? Keep in mind this area of India, Nepal.
Hmm.
Uh, what would you guess is the supposedly Guinness Book of World Records highest fatalities animal? Single animal that we know of.
I actually don't know animals to regions very well.
Well,
Uh,
okay. How about a deadly animal? What would you guess?
like insects included,
No, no, not insects included.
just animals, and like I'm assuming not
It would be
humans
hard to
either.
tell which one insect like
Yeah, it kind of
went across everywhere and killed a bunch of people.
I'm going to guess some kind of. I'm probably going to be wrong. I feel like that's why you're asking me is
I'm just
because
trying
it's
to see.
something
Well, I was
shocking.
surprised. I was surprised.
Right. So
What
I'm
animal was.
gonna say some kind of cat.
Okay, that's pretty good. It's a tiger,
Oh, okay.
a Bengal tigress, actually.
Oh,
The
tigress.
Champawat tiger.
Okay.
Um, record number of highest fatalities from a tiger, according to Guinness Book of World Record. But I mean, here's the death toll: 436 in
What? Oh, wow.
deaths responsible, in theory, um, allegedly, right, from this
Allegedly.
huge tiger. And she was killed in 1907 by Jim Corbett, who who interestingly became a after killing this one tiger became the foremost sort of one of the foremost experts on um, hunting
Oh,
hunting
it was a
predators.
literal single animal. It was one animal
One animal, yes,
that did all
yes,
that. Oh, okay. Wow.
yes.
Okay. I was going to say
436 deaths.
430 like what, a year, a day? That doesn't
No,
seem that
no,
impressive. But
lifetime,
one cat? Yeah, that's a
multiple
lot.
lifetimes actually.
That's kind of crazy.
And so this is a great story. So this is all according to a guy named Peter Byrne, a professional hunter who was from Nepal. And in Nepal, this tiger was there, and they had a massive beat uh, because this tiger was just roaming around in its territory, you know, eating people, killing them.
Yeah, as
Uh,
they do.
and so, what did they do? What did these people do? They called in the Nepalese army, and
Wow.
eventually, they sort of took control of her territory, uh, and she went in. She went from Nepal, and I'm not sure what the split is, how much she killed in Nepal versus in India. But then she went to India, and her new territory was around Champawat, which is um, which is how she got the name Champawat tiger.
Gotcha.
So this guy he kills her, uh, Jim Corbett. The tiger kills a 16-year-old girl in a village near the town of Champawat and leaves a blood trail. You know, not the cleanest of eaters,
Right.
presumably. And they ambush this tiger, and he shoots the tiger dead. And what they find is this really old wound in the tiger's jaw. Um, so it really fucks up what the tiger can do, and
Right.
can't go
That
after their
got
normal
sloppy.
prey. Right. So she started. So the theory is she couldn't hunt her natural prey, and therefore started to hunt humans.
Oh, okay.
And she would only kill during the day. Um, and she managed to evade capture from the Nepalese army and quite a few other people, presumably as well, in India. But yeah, that's the story. So that's the story of the Champawat tiger.
So that makes me that I don't know why, but that made me think of another killer animal.
Okay.
Do you listen to comedians much?
Not as much as I used to, but quite a few.
I'm pretty big in comedians. I love listening to comedians. And one of my favorite comedians, Anthony Jeselnik,
Okay.
he used to have a show called The Jeselnik Effect or Offense. I don't remember. It's Offense, The Jeselnik Offense. And he had a bit on the show. He only got to do it once. But he had a bit on the show called Shark Party. And here's the deal with it. He loved sharks.
Okay.
They were his favorite animal. And he knew all the stats on them, kept up to date with sharks and shit. Pen pals with a few, I guess. And
Okay. I
uh
would have gone fin pals.
fi- ah, missed opportunity. uh and so he's like, I'm just gonna throw out a random number, but like 200 sharks die every year at the hands of human beings. And so whenever he hears news of somebody getting killed by a shark, he's like, fuck yes. One for the home team.
Okay.
And so he decided to make a bit on his show called Shark Party. And he caught news of this guy in New Zealand that got killed by a great white shark, the champagne of sharks, he says.
The great way. Okay.
And so
An S tier shark.
an S tier shark, he announces on the show that this guy got killed by a shark. He puts the guy's picture up on a monitor
No.
and says, "Smile, you son of a bitch, Shark Party." And then he has girls in shark costumes come out and dance
How do you know they're girls in the shark costumes?
because they're skimpy shark costumes.
Okay.
And one of them comes over and gives him a lap dance. And
Is
so
he dressed?
later,
Is he just normally
it's
dressed?
just normal.
Okay.
But then his producers were like, "You can't fucking do that," and he got tons of fucking death threats from like he said from the guy's family and all 100 other people in New Zealand, and that they started going after his family. And he's like, "Now I'm a comedian. I make jokes that offend people. If I get death threats, great. It's how I know I'm doing a good job." He's like, "But as soon as you go after my family, you attack my family with death threats, even better." But
Okay. Okay.
I love his Shark Party bit. It's so fucking funny because I feel the same way with wolves. But like just stay out of the fucking water to avoid getting eaten by a shark. You know what I mean? Just fucking we stay on our land, they stay on our water. They can't come over here. It could be zero fatalities with sharks.
But sharks only go after humans. Like they don't naturally go after humans, do they?
No, they don't.
It's a learned behavior or something.
Yeah.
In all my animal readings, I did. Oh, here we go. Here's the shark article. Yeah, only 4 people died as a result of a shark bite in 2018. There you go.
Yeah. Very few people do die from it.
So you think they were asking for it by going into the water?
I don't think they
to
were
be bitten
asking
by a
for it.
shark?
I just think it was avoidable.
Okay.
Now, I might sound like a bit of a hypocrite because I did just get back from the beach not too long ago. But I
Did you
wasn't
go in the water though? Ankle
Huh?
deep.
Ankle deep. Yeah, ankle deep. I went like
You went into shark. You
I
went into
belly
shark
button.
water.
I went belly button deep.
Okay.
But that's about as far as I'll go. I'm not a surfer. I'm not going to go way out in the water. I'm not going to go way out on jet skis or anything. That's their territory. You know what I mean? I ain't fucking with that.
I don't know if I'm with you, but I know where you're going.
Yeah, I'm not saying these people deserve to die.
I mean,
Anthony Jeselnik.
I think if they knew they were going to get hit by a shark, they wouldn't have gone where they were.
Well, yeah, I think that's true with anything. If you knew your plane was going to crash, you wouldn't get on the plane. But I'm just saying, there is that risk. And so just stay out of the fucking water.
There is in the crocodile article I was reading. There's these signs first sign in Australia. Of course, it's Australia, right?
It's always
There's a
done.
warning about jellyfish. Be careful of
Yeah. Now
jellyfish.
there's some jellyfish that'll fuck you up down there.
Yes, which is reason enough. But they also have a sign uh, for crocodiles,
Oh.
and there's numerous accounts actually of the crocodile attacks that I was reading through. At least the ones listed on Wikipedia. And there is one of a guy who went to wash his hands by shark infested water, and you already know where this is going. He was killed by a shark that was waiting in the crocodile. He was killed by a crocodile in crocodile infested water. He was brought in, and the thing is, he was washing his hands in salt water, so he was killed by a saltwater crocodile. Um, which is just sort of, if you're gonna say go to the argument of you're asking for it, I think that's more applicable versus staying out of the entire ocean. They've sort of claimed their crocodile waters, but to give a whole ocean to the sharks, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, the ocean makes up most of the earth, but we can't live on the ocean. At least right now we can't. I'm sure there's going to be cities out on the ocean in 50 years. But even
I
then
think
we're
I would
going to
go.
be above water. We're not submerged in water.
I think the landlubbers could take on ocean life. What are they gonna
Really?
do? Huh? Yeah,
Well, I mean, we obviously can because people have been whale hunting
right.
for
And
forever.
whales are the S tier animals in the ocean.
Yeah. I mean, they're bad motherfuckers. You don't
The
want to
only
fuck
thing
with
that
whales.
kills a whale is another whale,
That's
or
true.
old age,
That's true.
or us.
Right. Or I think a what are they called? What's a group of dolphins called? A
Oh
tuna?
fuck!
A tuna of dolphins. I think a tuna of dolphins has been known to kill
Is it not a pod?
whales.
A whale is a pod. It's a pod. Okay.
A pod of dolphins.
Yes.
Okay, a pod of dolphins has killed whales before, I believe.
You think so?
I think so.
Not an S tier whale.
Well, I mean, there's what's an S
That
tier
should
whale?
be
A killer whale?
well. Oh yeah, orca. Orcas kill other whales.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, orca.
Okay,
You know
killer
what
whales
I'm
eat
getting? I'm
dolphins.
getting all of this from Tierzu, which is a channel I love, and I've watched almost all the videos at least once, and perhaps multiple times. And he did a video on. If you haven't heard of it, you especially, Joe, I think you would really like it. But he talks about. Um, I think he has an episode on either marine life or whales. I know he has one on sharks, but he has all kinds of different. And he talks about it in sort of video game terms, so we can understand it, us the common folk.
Hmm.
Um, and it's really good. He gives all these animal stats. So humans have max intelligence stat
Nice.
and everything. Yeah, he did a video with like parrots and everything, and he called parrots an S tier bird, which I was not expecting.
Yeah, that's weird. You want to go to Quickies?
Yeah, you have some cookies first.
I do. I have a long list of them.
Quick quickies.
So let me. I'll ask two.
Okay.
First one might be a little bit more of a conversation. Do you
Okay.
think that you could fight 5 10-year-olds?
What in general? I don't even have to win.
I think it. I think that implies you winning. How well
Just
do you
like
think you could
straight up.
hold off 5 10-year-olds?
Oh, fucking body him. What are you kidding me?
You think you
I
just
could
destroy them?
insult them, and I that could take out two of them.
So, hold on.
They
You
could
think
They could
you
be
can
crying
just
to mommy.
insult them,
I think it would daze them at first.
and then you can body them after that?
Yeah,
At least two of them.
yeah. I don't spend a lot of time around 10-year-olds, so I don't know how big a 10-year-old is. But you know,
I mean, I've
I'm
always
more
had
than
little
double their
cousins.
age, so I can.
I have a lot of family, so I've had a lot of cousins.
Okay.
Uh,
You don't
and
think you could take your 10-year-old cousins?
no, I think I would destroy them.
Yeah.
I think I would I wouldn't even have to insult them.
I've heard this sort of question posed before, sort of as like, how many waves of 5-year-olds do you think you could survive? Like,
Oh, that's an interesting question. How many waves? How
yes,
do the waves
I think
increment?
I think it's just I can't remember if it's anything else, but I think it's just five-year-olds, right?
Okay.
Come at you, let's say every 30 minutes. How many waves could you handle? And I don't
Oh well,
know
hell,
how
that's
specific
like
you can
fucking
get.
25 minutes of rest time between each wave. I think
Hmm.
that's pretty good. I think I could get a 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
Man, I could go on
You
for a
don't you
while.
think you don't even stop, eh?
I mean, I trained I trained boxing for a while,
Yeah, but that's
and
against
I know
presumably opponents of equal height. You're gonna take some lower back
and
fatigue bending down.
also opponents that know how to fight back.
You think you could one punch every single time? How about the
Yeah,
waves were consecutive? So you defeat 5,
okay.
and then the next 5 come immediately.
Immediately after.
Yeah,
That would win me a lot faster. Because
that's just stamina at that point.
the longest I could go in boxing was 5 rounds. 5 3-minute rounds with 45 seconds in between. And man, at the end of the 5 rounds, and each 3 minutes, so I don't think it'd take 3 minutes to beat shit out of 5-year-olds. But I know that I would get winded if they just kept coming, and so I don't know. I would say at least 10 waves.
I bet you could pick up one and spin in a circle, and that would buy you a bunch of time. Like
What, like
pick
the
them up
last
by their
one?
arms. Yeah. No,
And
I'm saying, or even the first one you pick up, and you can just by the
sling them at the
arms
other.
and just spin in a circle.
That would take a lot of energy too to just pick up.
To
And
spin?
I suppose it'd be dependent on how chunky the five year
You
old
but
is.
you, yeah, strategically pick up the smallest 5-year-old
Yeah,
child.
I mean then I could just use him as a weapon and hit the others with them.
Okay.
Uh,
Like, what's the other quickie before?
okay. Now I don't know which one I want to ask next.
Do more than one.
Okay. How often do you floss?
Uh, not as often as I should, like everyone will say, but try to do once a day.
And you
But
do that like how consecutive do you think you are?
how often do I go in between periods of realizing I need to floss?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know, a week or two.
Okay,
I'll get
that's pretty
lazy
good.
with it. Usually, long enough time that my gums will bleed the next time I floss
Yeah, I
after a
mean,
hiatus. That's how I know it's been a long while.
I really fluctuate. Like sometimes for 3 days I'll do it in between meals. Have you ever seen those little pocket flossers where it's just like a little toothpick with a flosser on the end?
I was gonna ask, do you go for those or do you go for the,
Oh, I go for
choose
those.
your own size?
I go for those. Those are way
Mm.
better. Probably
Mm.
worse for the environment, but way better. Uh, and so I'll carry a bunch of those around in my pocket, and I'll just floss in between meals. And then other times,
Just straight in your inside a wrapper, hopefully.
what? Um,
Or do you
I
just
mean,
reuse the same
no,
one?
I don't reuse them. That
Okay.
would be. I would not put that back in my pocket. uh, but then like I'll go months without doing it. And normally it takes me going to the dentist and then being like, "Do you
Then
floss?" And
them
me going,
shaming
"No."
you, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
you
then
should
them
not be this
stabbing
much
my
blood.
gums. Yeah. Fucking stabbing my gums and being like, if you floss, they wouldn't bleed. So
You
I'm not a great
motherfuckers.
flosser. Autumn
I
is.
like the longer. I like the choose your own size sort of. Um, I don't know about you, but I feel like I have a big mouth. It's fucking the little.
Yeah,
It's
I
only
do
a little
too.
bit of floss. It's like I want a big fucking floss. The I don't know string
I, I
to
like
use.
I like how easy the ones on the toothpicks are to use. They're so fucking
Mm.
easy to use. One handed. Don't need two. So much easier.
Electric toothbrush or no?
I hate electric toothbrushes.
Mm.
What about you?
I'm a big fan of uh, a mixed martial art of toothbrushes. I'm a big fan of brushing your teeth in the shower.
Oh my god. What?
Hey, don't knock it till you try it. Uh, so I don't use the electric in the shower,
Right.
but otherwise electric. But
I
it takes fucking long ass time. It feels like
you
I feel
know,
like you're in there quick with the sort of the manual versus, of course, the automatic is just oh my god, I'm here
uh
forever. But my teeth do feel cleaner with
I
the electric.
I like how you said microwaves are a scam? I think electric toothbrushes are a scam.
Yeah,
They just
I can see
vibrate a
that.
little bit. Like what the fuck?
Mm.
I just scrub really hard. Scrub my teeth really hard.
You're not supposed to scrub hard. I don't think.
No, you're not supposed to do it too hard because it'll rub the what's it called, enamel off your teeth.
Mm.
So I'm not like bending the fucking toothbrush trying to clean my teeth or anything, but I give it a good strong scrub.
Mm.
Uh, make sure that they're squeaky clean. Okay, last
Okay.
quickie. Uh, and this is in honor of the poll.
Okay.
Uh, I know you're not big into movies, but what genre is your favorite? Like horror, comedy, action,
Ooh, I gotta think about
psychological?
that. I gotta think about that.
Horror is my favorite. My absolute. I don't actually like comedy movies that much.
I like. I would go probably nonfiction, some sort of nonfiction. I guess horror movies based on a true story are all in that same category, but nonfiction is sort of the biggest. But I would get. I think my favorite movies are fantasy movies, though,
Yeah, like
which is
Lord of
tough
the
to say.
Rings.
Well, yeah, that's what I was exactly thinking of. Is like
Yeah,
I love those movies, but if I were to pick a movie, uh, I would probably pick some sort of documentary or something
really.
like to watch. Or so, dude, I tell you, I like fucking boring things. Like
Sounds like it.
I
Do you
watched an HBO miniseries on John Adams, starring Paul Giamatti as John Adams.
do you
It was
have?
amazing. It was
I know
great.
you don't have a favorite anything. Do you have a favorite movie?
Um, well, his favorite series would be Lord of the Rings,
Naturally, it's a
but
good pick.
I'm thinking of movies. One doesn't come to mind, but I was recently thinking about my favorite book, so uh, which would probably be To Kill a Mockingbird,
That's a good book. I really like that book.
and the movie is awesome as well.
Yeah, the movie is actually really good. I haven't seen
So
that in a while, but it's really good.
it'll be my placeholder answer until
Uh,
the real answer I'm reminded of.
my all-time favorite movie, all time, easiest pick of my life, is called Being There. Being there.
Okay.
A lot of people think I say being there, like Bean. No, being there. It's about this guy who was born in like this rich guy's mansion and was raised to be his gardener, and
Okay.
that's all he knows. He has like a childlike mind because he was never educated. He's a simpleton, and the lord of the manor dies and has no heirs or anything, so his house is being auctioned off, and this guy has to leave,
Hmm.
and he has to go out into the real world, and from there, all these like crazy lucky things happen to him, and it's actually a very touching movie. A
Sounds
very
Forrest Gumpy, to be
it
honest.
kind of is, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Forrest Gump. But
I enjoy it.
it's kind of the same concept. It's just this guy's not blatantly mentally retarded.
Okay.
He's just a simpleton, and he has no social cues, kind of like Forrest Gump, and he doesn't understand when people are hitting on him.
Okay.
And in one scene, this gay man is hitting on him, and
Hmm.
he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, all right, that's cool. You're a nice man. And so the gay guy takes him up to his room, his hotel room. But it's actually a very poetic movie and very deep. You
Okay.
don't kind of realize how deep it is until near the end, but then you're like, whoa, that's a good fucking deep fucking movie. But yeah, easily my favorite movie of all time.
Two movies I was thinking of. Not necessarily a movie for the first one, because it was a great book. But Flowers for Algernon. I don't know if you. I had to read that in school.
I've never
Um,
heard of that.
great sort of book. And the idea is, um, there's this guy. I think his name is Charlie, and I don't remember exactly what his problem is, but he has a mental problem. So similar to Forrest Gump and Chance the Gardener, as Wikipedia tells me. Um, and he tries this. He's in this experiment, and so the book is his journals. He's like journaling. Um, I don't remember if it's like some serum or something, but he ends up super smart, and that's sort of what I would leave that as. Um,
Hmm.
so he goes from being this super dumb guy to being this really smart guy, and it's a awesome book.
And you say it was a
And
movie?
it is a movie, so you would probably be able to get by. It's much better as a book, actually. The more I think of it,
I think
because
most are.
he writes it. It's like fucking terrible to read because there's no punctuation and anything when he's stupid. But then he gets really smart.
Hmm.
It's awesome.
That's interesting.
I think you would enjoy it. I if Autumn hasn't read it, she should read it. I'm guessing she would like it.
What's it called again?
Flowers for Algernon.
Okay, I'll look that up. I'll
Very good
definitely
book.
watch the movie, and if I like it, I'll read
It's
the
kind of
book.
old timey movie, if I remember
I
correctly.
like old timey movies. Have you ever seen
Uh,
Chariots of Fire?
no.
It's you know the music from it, uh,
Okay, I believe you.
but it's just like these fucking guys running. Uh, this they all go to an all boys school, and then it's like their different careers in running professionally.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't think I would like it, but I watched it in OD's class,
It's really good.
and it was actually really fucking good. I really
Okay.
liked it. But yeah, so I'll watch that movie. That sounds interesting.
And before we end the episode, the last movie I was thinking of was 1917, which came out recently, and I
I was
saw it
going to
in the
say I'm
theater.
pretty sure that's new.
That it's a great fucking movie. It's shot. It feels like it's all in one take, and it is so fucking gripping. It is awesome.
Hmm.
I watched that New Year's 2020, I think, ish around that area, around that time, and it was fucking amazing. It's a World War One movie.
I'll watch
Really good.
that too then.
You need to watch. Yeah, I
Oh, it
think
has one of the guys from Game of Thrones in it,
briefly,
and
yeah, but it's
Benedict
mostly two
Cumberbatch.
guys. It's mostly two guys. The premise is um, one British sort of force is attacking because they think the Germans are retreating. They're not. They're regrouping, and the phone lines are cut, and so they send one guy in because he has a brother in the other division that's attacking, and they're like, "We're pretty sure you're gonna fucking make it, because if not, your brother's probably gonna die if they attack." And that's the premise. It's really good. It's all shot as if it's a one take. They do some film magic with it,
That's
which is
interesting.
really fun. It's so gripping, so good, really good movie.
By the way, the only Flowers for Algernon that I found is in 2000.
Flowers. I have to look this up. I'll get back to you.
Okay.
But
All right.
we should end the episode.
Yep.
soon.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, we appreciate it. And thank you for the feedback that we've gotten. And I have to say, we had Sammy on last time. And the time before that, I specifically said no thanks to anyone. And the next day, the day before this episode, that episode released, Sammy gave us feedback. So, special thanks to Sammy for her feedback.
And error correction, yes.
Yes. But thank you, everyone, for your feedback. And we have a new YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
I worked tirelessly the past few days to...
Joe was never tired working on it. That's what he's trying to say.
Bullshit. And I spent so much time trying to edit all of our past episodes and get them uploaded. And whenever each episode's an hour fucking long, it takes a long fucking time. But make sure to go subscribe to that. We would much appreciate it. And who knows, we might put some other content out there sometime.
In theory, yeah.
Yeah,
we might start a gaming channel. We might start. Have you ever heard of streaming, Joe? That's a conversation for.
I have. Don't think I'm interested.
No.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Wait a second. I've got to thank my people too, because I heard from Kevin and Aubrey gave me some good feedback before. And
I'm just used to them not giving you any feedback.
It's true. It's true. They're in the backlog of episodes. We know it can take a while to set aside an hour and get through it, but super appreciated when you do.
Yes.
We hit 150 downloads recently. I don't know if you saw that, Joe.
I did not. I'm glad you're keeping up with that.
Yes, I very much so like looking at the stats. There's still time for Sammy's episode. Almost every guest episode takes more time to get views up in it. But Sammy's close. She's doing, the episode's doing really well. All the episodes are doing well. We've got about 20 at the moment. It seems about 20 downloads a week, which is awesome and more than I expected. And we know that we've got some dedicated listeners who take their time getting through, and we're not going to police you on how to listen to it. So we appreciate it. Any listens. And especially if you go to the new YouTube channel for whatever reason, that works out way better for you.
And now you can comment. Even if you listen on Spotify or iTunes, and then you want to make a comment, you can just go to our YouTube channel and comment on that episode. And then if we start getting comments, we'll start responding to some of them on the podcast. Until we blow up.
Right. And then I don't...
Inevitably. Yeah.
No.
Okay, now can we say bye?
Yeah, we can say bye now.
Thank
you.
you.
Get the hell out of here.
Bye.
Stop faking our friendship. Bye.